4 days after the bloodbath at Talladega, 2 couriers reached Andrew Jackson's camp at the 10 Islands with alarming news. A real Red Stick army was attacking at Talladega.
The Battle of Talladega was the first real battle of Andrew Jackson's Tennessee campaign. And I say that because Talladega was not so much a battle as it was a massacre. There's no evidence that the warriors at Talladega were even Red Sticks. They were sleeping peacefully with their families in their cabins when General Coffee's troops came and surrounded Talladega that night. The warriors at Talladega were not there with their families. They were there in battle force attacking a fort that of Creeks who had allied themselves with the big warrior.
General Coffee's mounted men could hear the yells of the defenders in Fort Leslie and see them pointing at the location of the Red Stick camp below the fort. The site, now a cemetery, was covered with heavy growth in November 1813.
By the friendly party, we were advised of their approach and position, which enabled us by force marching night and day with our detachment to meet them 30 miles in advance of our main army. We met them in the early morning when we surrounded them and in a few minutes put the whole to flight, having killed 300 of their best warriors on the ground, and the most of the balance were wounded. General John Coffee, November 12, 1813.
Although Coffee claimed credit for the victory in a letter to his wife, the rest of Jackson's army was heavily engaged in the fight.
When his army arrived outside of Talladega, Jackson tried to repeat what General Coffee had done at Talladega by sending Coffee's mounted men to surround the Red Stick encampments. The warriors were more wary than had been the situation at Talladega. They realized what was going on. They came out in force and attacked Jackson's army. The fighting was very severe. Jackson, outnumbered the Red Sticks by about 3-1, so the result was what you would expect it to be.
Later claims that William Weatherford led the Red Sticks at Talladega are not based on sources from the time of the battle. One source, just weeks later, mentions that a different chief named William, this one named William or Billy Scott, was among the principal Red Stick leaders at the Battle of Talladega. Most of the warriors were from the Hillabee towns, to which they retreated after the battle to tend to their wounded.
Jackson claimed that he killed around 300 Red Sticks at Talladega, which is entirely possible, but he also said there were around 1,000 Red Sticks on the ground, which means that about 700 warriors managed to escape. We know from a map that was prepared immediately after the battle that they managed to break out towards the northwest, which would be in the direction of where Talladega College is located today.
The site of Fort Leslie, the Native American stockade that was the focus of the Red Stick siege, has been located by archaeologists, but little remains due to modern development. The spring near which the main battle started is marked by a monument at the intersection of Battle and Spring Streets. The pyramid where Jackson's soldiers are buried is in Oak Hill Cemetery. His casualties included 15 killed and 85 wounded, although he reported that some of the wounded later died. Along with Veterans Park and Pines Park, the cemetery includes large areas of the battlefield.
And that cemetery occupies much of the site of the Battle of Talladega today. And in the middle of that cemetery, you will see a large low spot with a little stream that flows through it. That's where some of the heaviest fighting of the battle took place.
The Red Stick dead from the battle were left unburied. Frontiersman Davy Crockett, who passed by 1 year later, remarked that their bleached skulls looked like frost-covered pumpkins. Our series War of 1812 on the Gulf Coast will continue. See other parts in this continuing series on our channels or at 2egtv.com. At the Talladega Battlefield in Talladega, Alabama, I'm Rachel Conrad for 2Egg TV.